So hello, we have the lab sheet 4 displayed here. So before we start with the program examples, so I will be just revising with the concepts. I hope this new screen is visible. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So here we have the concept of functions. First, we will just revise with some of the concept we discussed, right? So we have seen that functions is like modular programming. We have divided our program into different parts, that is modules. So each of them performs a specific task and it gives the output. And we have also seen the use of this, right? Why whenever we have repeatedly done task, so instead of writing the same code again and again, it is better if we can reduce the code. It becomes easier for the developer, as well as it becomes easy to read the code, easier to implement, and it increases the efficiency, right? So instead of writing same code again and again, so we can reduce the code by a large extent. So we have seen the modular programming. So what is this modular programming? So basically modules, right? Or parts. Module means parts. So we are breaking a large problem into small pieces. So we may have a large problem. Say we have a calculator to be implemented. So that means we have to implement one addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus. All these can be divided into 5 pieces, right? Each one for one arithmetic operation. And we may have a main function which will call them one by one. So if we want to perform addition 10 times, subtraction 5 times, multiplication 8 times, division 100 times, so it is very tedious to write a large code. So in that case, we are breaking the code into pieces and implementing using functions, right? So we may write one function for add, another for subtract, another function for multiply, another for divide, and then one function for mod. So how many ever times we need, we can call those functions, right? So repeatedly writing the same code can be avoided using modular programming. So here we are dividing the code into small pieces. So what are these pieces? So those pieces are nothing but modules, or functions can also be called with different names. So if you see these names, they are nothing but functions itself. Modules or subroutines or procedures or simply functions. So all these words mean the same. They are different names for functions. Modules, subroutines, procedures or functions, right? So here we have to know why is this modular programming or function necessary, right? So it helps us to manage the complexity. If we have to write the same code again and again, there are chances of mismatch, right? So complexity increases. So if we have functions, it becomes easier for us, right? So it encourages reuse of code. Reusability is an important feature. When you come to software engineering in your further semester, you will understand the importance of reusability. Nowadays, no developer writes the program from scratch, right? So parts of code are already available, say GitHub or wherever. He can get that and implement it for his application. So reusability of code, we will learn using functions. So it is already available. So why do we need to reinvent the wheel, right? So that is a saying. So we need not write the same which is there again. So it can be reused. So reusability of code, we can see how to do it using function. That is another advantage. And then we have independent development of code. So there is no concept of mismatch or getting interchange, right? So values will be available separately, whatever values we want to add or subtract. So that is available and it is very easier to read also. We will have small blocks of code. So if we want to repeatedly execute, we will simply call that function. We need not write the same code again and again. So let us see here more. So here we can have different parts of the same program. So these functions can be used, user defined functions. So here basically every C program has at least one function, which is that we have used in all the program. Which is the function compulsorily required for any C program? Main, right? Without main, will the C program work?
No.
No, we need to have main compulsorily. So that is one function which we have used, right? So throughout in all the programs. So main is one function. Now this main is a keyword. It is already defined. Compiler, as soon as it sees main, it knows what to do, right? It is defined. Now, similarly, we have used some other functions. Can you name them? Different functions we have used.
Math, ma'am.
Math.h is a header file. What functions have we used? In math.h,
SQRT.
sqrt is there, power, sine, cos, sin h, cos h, absolute. We have so many, right? Exponent, log, all these are already defined, right? So those functions we have used. Along with that, we have the main, like many times, printf, scanf, put s, get s, string manipulation functions, string length, string copy, string compare, string n copy, string n compare, and so on, string concatenation. All these functions we have used, right? So what is the difference between these functions and the ones we are going to discuss? So that is the type, right? Types of functions. So what we just saw are all predefined. They are already defined by the compiler. It may be defined in some header file. So stdio.h defines printf, scanf, string.h defines string length, string compare, etc. Math.h defines square root, power, exponent, log, sine, cos, all these. So like that, these are the predefined functions, or we can call them as built-in functions or library functions. There are different names for the same. Predefined functions are already defined. What are the other type? Now we want to perform some operation which is not there as a predefined function, right? Adding two numbers is not there. So say we want to add them and then write it as a function. So that as a user, we are going to define it. So we can call them as user defined function. If we want to find factorial, there is no built-in function. So we can write a function for finding factorial of a number. So it becomes a user defined function. So like this, we have the different predefined function. So these, as you can see, scanf, printf, getS, putS, all these are keywords and they are already defined. Okay, so they are all predefined functions. So it is defined by the compiler and we have seen this, right? They are all defined and mentioned in the header file. If we have to use these built-in functions, we have to include the respective header files, right? So here we cannot change the meaning. We cannot say printf has to take input or scanf will print something, right? Library functions. Yes. Yeah, Jaisuri. So that is the same. Library functions are same as predefined functions. We can call them by different names. Predefined functions are also called as built-in functions or inbuilt functions, or also library functions, system defined functions. All these mean the same. Basically, it is defined by the compiler. So these are all keywords. We cannot use these names. We cannot write another function called scanf and change the meaning, right? Scanf is only used to take input. So these meaning cannot be changed. The functionality cannot be changed. We cannot redefine it. Okay. We cannot say we'll use string length to copy something. No. So these definitions of these functions are already fixed. So we cannot change them. So these are all predefined functions, or also called as built-in or inbuilt functions or library functions or system defined functions. So these names may be used interchangeably. So those are all the same, right? Predefined functions. So here we can see some examples. There are many more. Okay. So what do we see here? That is, they are defined in the system and they are also called as library functions, like you just said, right? So they are all library functions. So these we cannot change. What is the second type? That is user defined. So like the name says, we are going to define the meaning. We can give our own function and say what it has to work, right? How does it execute? So we can define the meaning of that particular function. So that is user defined. The functionality of the function is defined by the user. So we are going to give the function definition. What should this function do? what is the task of this. So we can write the function as small program to perform any task, any operation like adding two numbers or finding factorial or to multiply three integers, whatever we want to. So here users are free to define their own code for this user defined function. But there are three main things we should consider. We should have these three taken care of for any user defined function. That is the function declaration. Function declaration is also called as function prototype. So this line gives us a lot of information. We have seen this, the syntax as well: return type, function name, and parameters. So the data type of the parameters also. So a lot of information is given about the function in the statement function declaration. And then we have function definition. This is the code which has to execute for the function. So if we have add, then the function definition will have, say, total equal to a plus b. That is the function definition, basically the body of the function. And then function call is very important. If we don't have function call, the function will never execute, right? So it is like I told you, you have a bag of chips and you just keep it there, no use. You open it and eat, only then it's used. So if there is no function call, the function will not execute, right? So that is how important we have a function call. So these are the three main things to be taken care for user defined function. Function declaration or the prototype, function definition is the body of the function, function call where we start the execution of the function. Now let us see this, how to declare, right? So we have seen this syntax in the previous class. So return type, function name, and the parameter list. If we have, for example, addition is the name of the function. Note we can give any name, but this cannot be keyword. And the rules for naming identifier apply here also. It cannot start with the number. We cannot have spaces. We cannot have special characters and so on, right? All that rules which apply for naming an identifier apply here also. Okay, so then we have int is the return type. So we are adding two integers. So result is a int. So that is the return type. If we give semicolon, this is the prototype, right? So function declaration is also the function prototype. Then we have this, right? So this is nothing but the function prototype. So here we just saw the different terms in the previous class. I'll just revise it again. So these are important terms to understand the basics of function, right? Function prototype, that is the function declaration. So this is important. Then calling function, whichever function is calling this, which starts the function execution. So if we have add of 2, 4, we just saw that, that is the function call. So that whichever function is calling, so that is the calling function. Say in main, we have given function call, then main becomes the calling function. So if we give add of 2, 4, then that add is the called function, the user defined function which we have given. That is the called function. So calling function is main, called function will be add. Okay. So that, then we have the different types. We have seen the types of parameters. There are two types in functions, right? In C, we have actual parameters and formal parameters. So what are actual parameters? The parameters which we have used in main are actual parameters. The parameters in the function are called as formal parameters. Important to note the difference. Okay, actual parameters and formal parameters. So first we have the actual parameters. So the function may not always be called in main only, right? We may have a add function, it may call some other function, then add becomes calling function. Wherever we have function call, that function is calling function. So in that case, in the function call, we specify the parameters. So those are all actual parameters. So the parameters which are used while calling the function are called as actual parameters. So usually in main, so majority of the cases we are calling functions. So we say main is a calling function. The parameters used in the function call in main are the actual parameters. Now these actual parameters have some value. it gets copied to formal parameters, right? So we don't send the enter value, a copy of it is given to what? To formal parameters. Formal parameters are the variables or parameters used in the called function, say add, right? So those are used in the called function. They are the receivers. From actual parameters, we will send value and it is copied to formal parameters. We will see examples also. So here there are three main things. The order and the data type and the number should match between the actual parameter and formal parameter. Order, data type, and number of parameters. So if we have in actual parameters like int comma float, so that means there are two parameters. The data type is int and float. Order is int followed by float. So even in the formal parameter, we should follow the same. Formal parameters should also be int comma float. Names may be different, no problem. Here we may give int a comma float b. In actual parameters, formal parameters may be int x comma float y, right? Names may be same or different, that is not a problem. But the order, if it is int float in actual, in formal also it should be int followed by float. And the data type, if first variable is int, second is float in actual, even in formal, first one should be int, second one should be float. We cannot interchange. We cannot write float y comma int x. We cannot say that both the variables are anywhere there. No, if it does not match, compiler will surely throw an error, right? So if then, so order also should match. So first one should be integer, second should be float. That is in case we have given in the function call. So that should be same, right? So next is the data type. So as we just saw, say data type, order, and the number of parameters should match between actual and formal parameters. Otherwise, the compiler will not proceed further. It will just give an error saying parameters do not match, right? Or if we give more number, actual parameter we give 2 and formal parameters if we give 3, say here we give AB and formal parameters we give XYZ. So it gives an error as too many arguments. In case we give actual parameters as AB, formal parameters we give only X, then the error will be too few parameters. Few parameters means we have less parameters, right? So you can see that by executing also, first you can execute the correct one and then you may change in the prototype, just add one extra variable or just delete one variable and you can see the types of errors also, right? So three main things: order of parameters, data type of parameters, and number of parameters. So that is in actual should match with formal parameters. So these three has to be taken care. That is the necessity for compilation also. So here we have one particular example. As you can see, we are finding square of a number. So here we are passing 4. 4 is the actual parameter. It gets copied to formal parameter n1, right? So here n1 is 4. 4 into 4, x becomes 16. Then we are returning back the value. How does this work? Control always starts from main. So this is the function definition. It may be defined before main or after main. Only thing is, if we are defining after main, this line int square int n1 should be mentioned here before main and after hash include stdio.h, so that the compiler knows there is one function called square which is defined after main. Okay, so prototype is necessary. If we are writing main later, then no need to give the prototype separately again. Okay, so here because we are defining the function later after main, the function declaration line, the prototype has to be given again, int square of int n1 semicolon. So this line will be given 2 times if the function is defined after main. Now how does this work? Always control starts from main. So we are defining one number. So here we are passing parameter as 4. As soon as the function is called, this line is function call, square of 4. So because we have a function call here in main, main is the calling function. And which function is it calling? Square. So square becomes the called function. So in the calling function, we have 4. This is actual parameter. In the called function, we have n1. n1 is the formal parameter. So we see that 4 is integer. Data type has matched. There is only one parameter. Parameter is matched. Since it is one, order is not of any importance. So order is there. Only one is there here as well as informal parameter also. So it passes 4, calculates 4 into 4, 16, and it returns 16. Now, once the control flow is here, after executing the function, it returns back to the same line. Okay, and then it has returned 16 that gets stored to num. So square of 4 is 16. So it gets stored to num and it prints num. Is the working clear? How does this execute? Did you understand the working of functions for this example? Yes or no? Harshraj?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Okay. So we'll continue further.
Ma'am, if we write void main down, like after int square,
Yes.
then also num square will call the function first.
Yes. So even if we mention int square first, control will start from main only. So it will call this and then only control will go to function. Okay, so it will just scan. If in case you have written int square first, the compiler will know that the function is defined. Okay, but it will start execution from main. So main is compulsorily to be given. So control will start from main only. Whether we give the function definition after main or before main, that will not make a difference. So control will start from main only. I hope your doubt is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let's continue. So this is example for finding square of an integer, right? So here we will just, another statement is only hash include and the prototype. We have to include hash include stdio.h and int square of int n1 semicolon. Those two lines has to be written here. Prototype is to be given again because function is defined after main. If this was given before main, then no need of writing prototype again. Okay, because anyway function will be there, right? So now we just saw this. So this is a syntax for defining the function. We just discussed this in the previous class, right? We have the majority of information given. This is the prototype or the function declaration, the first line. So return type, name of the function, parameter list. Inside that function definition, we have local variables. Local variable means it can be used only within that function. We have a few executable statement, n number, we may give any number, and return statement, right? So this returns the answer back to calling function. So we saw this example. So wherein we have void add of int ab. So total is the local variable. A and B are formal parameters. So its value is got, right? So we add it and print here. When we observe return type is void, it does not return any answer back. So we are printing it here itself. We just discussed the same example in the last class, right? Continuing, we have the syntax important for function call. How do we call the function? Like we just saw, square of 4. We have to specify the name of the function followed by the parameter list. So if we have say add, so an example, if we have, we can give here AB or variable name also, provided we take input, say take input for A and B, and we can give add of A comma B. So, or we can give the values directly, add of 2 comma 4. It will add 2 plus 4, store it to total and print total. 2 plus 4, 6. Okay. Then we have the function declaration. This is nothing but the function prototype. So like we just saw, return type, function name followed by parameter list. If it is a prototype written like before main, then a semicolon is necessary. So example like this, void add of int a comma int b semicolon. This semicolon is given when we are giving prototype before main and function definition is after main. Okay. Now we saw this same example, maximum of 2 numbers. Did you understand this or shall I explain the same again? We just saw this in the previous class. So I'll just explain a little, right? So this is to find maximum of two numbers. So here we can see another alternative. Previously we saw that function, if it is defined first, no need of prototype. But here we are defining function later after main. So in that case, this is how you have to give function prototype: int maximum of int a comma int b semicolon. If it is only prototype without the function definition, we are giving the semicolon. So it tells us function name is maximum. There are two integers as parameters. These are formal parameters, and there is a return value int. We are writing the main function first, and that is why function prototype has to be given before, right? So this function is defined later after main. Now control starts from main. We are taking input, right? It is parameters have to be given a and b. So we are taking input as x and y. Note in this example, they are different variable names. Variable names of actual and formal parameters may be different, right? So x and y, we take input, and this is the function call. Maximum of x and y. If we give 3 and 4, x is 3, y is 4. This is the function call. Immediately from here, control passes to function definition. Whatever statement we have will not execute. The control comes here. So we have called maximum of x and y. X is 3, y is 4. For example, it gets copied to a and b. X and y are actual parameters, and a and b, which is used in the function, are formal parameters. So a is 3, b is 4, for example. So we have to check which is greater, which is the maximum among this. So check if a is greater than b, then return maximum a, or otherwise return b. 3 and 4, so 3 greater than 4, condition is false, so it will return b, which is 4. Now what happens? It will go back. From here it has returned b value. So b is 4. So it goes back to the function, right? So till here we got. So this function has now returned value as 4. That will get stored to max. X is 3, y is 4. Out of that, maximum is 4. We got the answer that is in max. Then simply print that. Maximum of 3 and 4 is 4. X is 3, y is 4, max is 4. Hope this is clear. So we see all the different terminologies with example here. Okay. So now we have a function prototype used here. We have defined the function later. So that is the reason we give a function prototype. Why is this necessary? So we see that in the function declaration also we have the same line, right? We cannot change this while giving function prototype. Same thing has to be given with a semicolon, right? So we have seen this here, right? Same line is there. This is the function prototype. That is the first line of function definition, function declaration, right? So same thing is given. Why is this function prototype necessary? That is what we have here. So importance of this, it tells us a lot of information to the compiler. So compiler has to check if there is some error. So it needs a lot of information regarding what function we have used. If it was a predefined function, it already knows a lot of details. It is there in the header file. But this user defined functions are defined by us. So it does not know anything about it. So function prototype will tell the compiler about the information like number of parameters, what are the data type of each parameter, and what is the return type to the function. That's the answer. So using this function will check, compare the same from actual parameters to formal parameters. So it will check with the function call and function definition whether it matches. If there is any mismatch, compiler will give an error so that we can correct it and then execution takes place. Okay. So otherwise sometimes there may be warning also, but usually it will give an error. So we need to take care of three things: order, data type, and number of actual parameters should match with the formal parameters. I repeat, order of parameters, data type of parameters, and number of parameters should match, right? So here, so based on this parameters and the return type, we have the classification. 4 important types of functions. So classifications are based on the parameter and the return type, right? So here we have seen this. So just a minute. So here we have the function classification based on the parameter and return type. So first one is function with no argument and no return value. We are not passing parameters, we don't get the answer also. Second, with parameter and no return value. Third type, with argument and with return value. Fourth type, with no argument but with one return value, right? So if we see this, we have the working. I've explained the same in the video as well. There is no argument, no return value. That means there is no input given from the calling function to the called function, and this function 2 does not return any output also. Function 1, say main, is the calling function. This is function call. It is calling function 2. So function 2 becomes called function. So there is no parameter passed. Like we saw, square of 4. 4 was the input passed. So here we don't have any parameter, and it does not return back any value also. There it returned, say 4 into 4, 16. It returned. But in this type, it is not returning. Then how will the user know the output? So we can just print it in the function 2 itself. So we will see an example. Say we have the function. Here there is no parameter and there is no return type. So in the main, so here we have defined the function before main. No need of writing prototype again, right? Control starts from main. So in main, we have the function call. Simply we specify the name of the function, sum bracket. So we see that there is no parameter, there is no return type. We don't give like result equal to sum of a comma b. No, there is no parameter, no return type. Simply give the name of the function. This is the first category. So once we give this, control comes to the function definition. So void sum. So we don't know what is the input. So we have to take input. That will be done within the function only. So we define total a and b. These are local variables. It will be used only within this function sum. Okay. So take input for a and b. Find the total. Okay. A plus b. So say 2 and 4. 2 plus 4, 6. And print it here itself. Because we are not returning anything back to main, right? So we have, the user has to know the answer, even though we are not returning. So here we have seen this addition, right? Sum function. We are printing the result in the function itself. And after implementing this, it has printed result is 6. Control comes back to main. So this is how we can find the sum of two numbers without return type, without parameter, right? What is second one? With parameter or with arguments, but no return value. So function 1 has taken parameters. It will send it to function 2, but function 2 will not return anything. It will simply print here itself answer. It will not give back to function 1. How is this? So header file and then function definition and main. We define function definition and in the main. So even though we have defined here, this will just be scanned and it will not execute. So control starts from main only. Because we are passing arguments, we have to take input first. So we are taking input of m and n. Note this function call, very important. We are passing m and n. These are actual parameters. So if we give 5 and 6, so that gets copied to a and b. M is 5, its value gets copied to a, and n value gets copied to b. So a becomes 5, b becomes 6. Now that is passed here. 5 plus 6 is stored to total. And since we are not having a return type is void. Nothing is returned back, but we need to know the answer. We will print it here. Okay. So void sum, we are printing the result here, and then control returns back. After that, if we have any statement, it executes. Otherwise, the program completes. So this is an example for function with arguments and no return type. The third category is with parameters or with arguments and with return type. So function 1 gives some arguments values to function 2. Function 2 will do some computation and it will return the result back to function 1. Let us see. We are seeing the same addition example in all the 4 categories so that we can differentiate and understand them. So here we have the function definition and the function call. Since we are passing parameters, control starts from main, we have to take input first, taking input for m and n. So this is the function call, very important. So function call, we are passing m and n. So if we give 1 and 2, m is 1, n is 2. Now from this statement, control directly comes to definition. A is 1, B becomes 2. The values of M and N get copied to A and B. If you note, order, int and int, same. Number of parameters, 2 actual parameters, 2 formal parameters, same. Data type, M and N are integers, A and B are also integers. So order, data type and number of parameters in actual is same as formal. M and N are actual parameters, A and B are formal parameters. So compiler will continue. So A is 1, B is 2. Find the total. Here we are returning a value, integer. So we will return total. It will not return the variable total. Note that total is local variable. It is only used here. It will return the value. That means 1 plus 2. It will return 3. So it will return the number value 3 and that gets stored to result. Okay. So the control comes back here after executing this, found 1 plus 2, 3. Now control comes back to the statement and it has returned a value 3 that gets stored to result. So this is example for function with parameter or argument and with return type. So it will now print the result as 3. Okay. Next is function with no arguments but with return value. So function 1 is calling function 2. This is calling function. Function 2 is called function. So it does not pass any input. So input has to be taken in function 2 itself and then it will do some computation. It has got a result. It will return that result. Okay, there is a return value. Function 2 will return a result back to function 1. Now if this function 1 is main, function 2 is add. We will see how does it work. Same example but with the fourth category. So that is the function definition and then we have the main. So control comes to main, we have declared result. Since we are not passing parameters, we simply give some name of the function and bracket. So there is no parameter. This is a function call. Important to note, this statement is very important. If we miss this statement, this function will never execute. Okay. So function call, the control comes to definition and because we have not passed parameters, we should know what to add, right? So that is taken as input within the function. So total AB is declared, take input for AB, add it, and now we found the total, say 2 plus 3, okay, 5, return 5. Input is taken within the function, but output is given to main. So 5 is stored in result and we print the result. Okay, so these are the 4 types of result, categories of function. So please let me know if you have understood these. All of you are unmuted also. All of you enter your name and roll number in the chat box. Also let me know if you have understood the 4 categories of functions with respect to parameters and return type. Is this clear? Did you understand these function categories?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So here we have taken one example and similar example is there. Instead of addition, we have factorial of a number. We have seen that Radha has to arrange 5 books. Number of ways is 5 factorial, right? That is without using functions. In the main, we have just written in main how to find factorial of a number. So you refer lab sheet 4. The problem 2, 3, 4, 5 are the same, wherein instead of adding 2 numbers, we are finding factorial of a number. The explanation for all those problems are there in the video. I will be sharing that video also. Please watch this because next class as per timetable is on Saturday only. In between, I will be sharing few videos also. So here basically module 4 is all modular programming only. Functions, structure, union. Structure and union is also modular programming, right? So I have shared one basic concepts of function. I will be sharing the problems. There are 7 problems based on functions. So similar to these categories. And then NCR, like we know NCR is n factorial by n minus r factorial into r factorial. So that problem without function is there and with function. So I have explained that in the video, right? So if possible, I will take an extra class if it is available to be scheduled. Okay. I have shared the video also. So all of you watch that. Anywhere you find a doubt, please feel free to contact. You can send a message or you can send screenshot if you get error or doubt. Okay, I will reply. I hope it is fine. So execute the programs from lab sheet 4 also. Anywhere, if you find any problem, so you can message and let me know. Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. So I received this reply on the chat box. So if you have doubt, you can also message. So execute these programs, right? Thank you. So, okay, I have a doubt here. So, recording of today's class, I will be uploading in YouTube. Okay, so I will send the link. So, you all know about the channel, right? I have shared many links of those videos. So, not in Erich, I will be uploading in YouTube. So, you can watch that. And also the videos for functions, right? The basic concepts as well as the program explanation and execution also is there for your reference. So, with a few test cases, I have executed each program in the lab sheet based on functions. I will be sharing that video also today only. Now I will share it. So please watch that video, and similarly you can execute. You can use the same test cases or you can give your own inputs and execute those programs. Anywhere you have a doubt, you feel free to ask, right? You can message or send screenshot. Anyway is okay, right? So thank you. I hope the doubts are all clear, right? Thank you.